Hey everyone, welcome to episode 43 of the GVGCast. It has been a week, but we are here and we are ready to celebrate the end of the week, the arrival of the weekend with you all. I am, of course, your host for today, Ash Paulson, and I am joined, as always, by my wonderful friends and GVG co-founders, Derrick Bittner and Steve Bowling. Guys, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah, it's... Oh, what's up?
Oh, I think... Hopefully you all can hear Derrick. I can't hear Derrick, but that's me again.
No worries.
It's just you.
I can hear Derrick.
Okay, as long as you all can hear each other. Yep.
Okay.
There we go. Sorry.
I mean,
everybody
who would
ignore
want to
me.
be denied the sultriness of... No, it's not sultry.
Derek's dulcet tones will not escape me this eve.
Dulcet, that's...
I don't know.
Take that.
I might describe your voice as sultry at times, man. I don't know. Don't sell yourself short. Especially when you're talking about Dragon Quest, the entire history and origin of Dragon Quest, which you are. You just did. You just uploaded an incredible project that you've been working on for quite a while. If you haven't checked it out yet, everyone in our audience, please do. Derrick has been working his ass off on this Dragon Quest retrospective, and he killed it.
Well, it's just the first game so far. It's mainly covering
Right.
that because I felt it was worth taking a look at each one individually and just seeing how it evolved over time. I found that to be pretty interesting, from that aspect, especially because, man, the history stuff I got into, like seeing the origins of Enix, really. That's wild.
Right.
I had no idea. I'll just pull something from the video. Enix was a tabloid company before becoming the game development.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, they did Japanese tabloids, and they were like, there's money in this burgeoning computer market, so like check that out. And the founder is like, well, let's take a look at this, but we also don't have any people that know how to develop games, so let's just hold a contest and $1 million yen to the winners. So there you go. That's how it all began.
$1 million yen. That's not even a lot when you think about it.
No, but I'll still take it. I'll pocket it.
Yeah.
Someone wants to throw me $1 million yen, I'm here. I'll take it. But how are you guys doing? How have your collective weeks been? How have our collective weeks been?
Honestly, not too bad. Again, it's great stuff is accomplishing getting the video done, but then also one of the other subjects we'll be talking about later on. I've been definitely enjoying that. And I can just go ahead and say it. I'm pumped up and ready to get back to my next retrospective.
Nice.
Because the idea was like, I'll get the retrospective, the groundwork laid for the retrospective, at least to get it off and going. And then real quick do Dragon Quest because it shouldn't take that long. I was a fool. And then get back to it. So now the Dragon Quest done is I'm getting back to it. So we'll just keep going.
Well, Steve, my friend, it sounds like you and I both have had a pretty crazy week at work, huh? We've been a little ragged this week.
I was pretty candid with these guys before the show started. I was beat. Like I had to go throw cold water on my face, get dinner, like eat real quick just to get some energy, which worked, thankfully.
Nice.
Good.
But I've been pulling like 14 to 15 hour shifts every day this week,
man.
So
and you still managed to get out your game of the month video. Which
is so it was really important to me. I made a promise that I would do those because I didn't make it on this show, but on our subreddit, I had promised folks that I would try to make more videos in 2023, and the response to the idea that I floated in my game of the year to doing a game of the month was both in the YouTube comments and on Reddit, like a big hit. And they were like, please do this. Like, please do more roundups. So I was like, you know what? I'll do that. That'll be my thing this year. On the last day of every month, I'll post a video, at least talking about what I played and giving one game to hold up. And it helps me too, because then at the end of the year, I can go, okay, I made 12 videos about this. Those are the games I'm going to evaluate as potential picks. But yeah, so I tried my best. I just turned my camera on and banged that out real quick. But it has been a week, man, like a hard, ugly week in terms of regular work. Patreon.com/GVGaming if you want to save us from that, by the way.
Yeah. But no, that is one of my prime goals for this year. Is I want to get to the point where I can do more videos as well. My day job takes up the vast majority of my time, and then of course I want to make sure I have time to hang out with my wife and spend quality time with her, because that is obviously incredibly important. And that's one of the most important parts of my life. But that having my day job take up so much of my time, and then also I want to spend time with my wife. That doesn't leave a lot of time for much of anything else. And I want so badly to get to the point where I'm not just doing behind the scenes stuff for our Patreon and our Discord and stuff. I want to be doing videos as well. I miss it so much. So that is my prime goal for this year, is to get to a point somehow where I can be doing that as well, because I miss it. And I hear from fans who want me to be doing videos, which I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that you want to see videos from me. So it's not that I don't hear you. It's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just that I need to be able to get to the work-life balance part of my life where I can do that.
I hear you. I think for me, the big takeaway from last year was that I need to worry less about the production values and more about just making something. Sure, and that's what I've started to do, because before I would be like, oh, well, I have all these ideas for really fancy edits, but realistically, I don't have the time.
Right.
I will tell you a secret right now. I knew how to do some fancy stuff in Vegas, but since we mainly use Premiere, and I'm still kind of learning it, I know nothing on how to do fancy edits on Premiere. And a lot of time I don't want to bother people on how to do it, but it's also like, this is also an interesting challenge to just do it basic and not really go overcomplicated. Just keep it nice and simple and straight to the point, and seems to do all right. So
that's what I'll have to do.
Don't get bogged down, because trust me, I can think of like, oh, it'd be so cool if I could do this fancy thing, and it doesn't.
Everything I know is on Final Cut, so I completely I get it. Like, everything I know is Final Cut. When I do switch to Premiere, I'm going to know nothing except hopefully just the bare basics. So I totally hear that, Derrick. That's definitely and hopefully I can build up a nice knowledge base in Premiere eventually as well. But I've just during all the days of the old channel, I was working exclusively through Final Cut Pro, and so that's just where I know everything. So yeah. Too many programs out there. Everybody should use, well, not Final Cut Pro, because nobody else would, because they're Mac. That's a Mac program. But it would help me if everybody only used the program I use, and it's all about me, right? Come on, obviously,
exactly.
Yeah. No, you know what? It is not all about me. It is, in fact, though, all about our amazing sponsor, the Game Orb. And the Game Orb, as always, is a YouTube channel that brings commentary and gameplay footage from the Nintendo Switch and Xbox Series X gaming systems. While games like Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu can be seen on the channel, along with others, the Game Orb will also now be adding Splatoon 3, Super Mario Sunshine, and Fall Guys to the gaming collection. So be sure to subscribe to the Game Orb at the link in the description. And of course, as always, I have pinned a link to the Game Orb's YouTube channel in our YouTube chat. So as I say every week, he has been supporting us from the very beginning of our existence and has helped us out so much. So please do. If you like what we do here, please go show the Game Orb some love and pay it forward. Check out their content, subscribe to their channel. They have done so much for us. So thank you very much, the Game Orb. Also, we got some patron birthday shout outs. Happy belated birthday to TerraForce. Very belated, January 23rd, in fact. So happy birthday to you, TerraForce. Happy almost birthday to Jacomon, which is tomorrow, February 4th. So I hope you have a great birthday weekend, Jacomon. And also, happy almost birthday to VGA Fanatic, whose birthday is Monday, February 6th. So I hope you both have awesome birthday weekends. And thank you so much. Yeah, happy birthday. And thank you so much for being in our community. We love you guys. And happy birthday.
Absolutely.
One more shout out for now, and that is, you may not be aware, so our art director is, of course, Daniel Alba, but we also have another incredibly talented, regularly contributing artist to our channel, and that, of course, is Lon Lon, who you may be familiar with. And they, right now, are trying to raise a little money for their first year of college. They need to get to Canada. They've been accepted into college, and we're super happy for them. And awesome. We're trying to help them out, and they actually, with the help of their friend, set up a GoFundMe. So they have to get from Brazil to Canada. They live in Brazil. They got to get to Canada, where the college is. They've already been accepted, but they don't have the money to make the trip as yet. So, of course, we were more than happy to shout out their GoFundMe on GVGCast, like we did for our patron Goron Amber a few weeks ago. So please, if you could help out Lon Lon, we'd really appreciate it. If you've ever seen any of our executive producer merch over on our Patreon, they designed most of that. They also designed, in fact, our GVGcast logo, as well as our post-show logo. So if you've and you wouldn't have seen the post show unless you've actually been on the post show and watched it, which is a patron exclusive perk. But my point is, they have contributed so many amazing art assets to our channel alongside Daniel. And so if you could help them, get to school and help pay for their first year of college, we would all, of course, really appreciate it. And I have left a link to their GoFundMe in the description, but I'm also going to post it right now in YouTube chat. So anything you can help them out with would be super appreciated. There you go. I just posted in YouTube chat. And Lon, we love you. We are hoping for the best, and we hope that you are able to make your first year of college happen. And thank you in advance to all of you wonderful people in our audience and in our Patreon community for helping out however you can, if you can. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, we do have some super chats, which is super exciting. So let's go ahead and read off a few of those, and we'll get into the news. And it's the news has been ramping up. It's February. News is ramping up. We got a little bit to talk about. But first of all, we have $50 from our good friend and patron, Aramis Baramis. Thank you so much for your generosity. Hey, GVG crew, have a great cast. I ended up taking Steve's recommendation and starting Sega Ages Phantasy Star 1 last weekend. It's a charming game. Dungeons are a bit to get used to since I'm sketching my own maps, but it's a great 8-bit RPG so far.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
I'm impressed they're sketching their own maps. Doesn't Sega Ages do that automatically for you? Like, they're going
Sega
all
Ages
in.
does. I was going to ask that, but Aramis, if you're out there and you're watching, please send me those maps. I need that nostalgia hit, because I used to do that. I made my mom go out and buy me a notebook full of graphing paper so that I could fill in the little squares as I went along. I love seeing the way people did that. I do think that doing it that way is authentic to the experience of playing it for the first time.
They just said in the live audience chat they're trying not to use the map function, so they're trying to kick it old school. Which, hey, I can appreciate that.
I respect that.
I definitely
for certain. I did not map anything in when I played through Dragon Quest, but I was able to just stumble my way through just because the dungeons aren't that big. That helps out. Although you'd be happy, Steve. I was looking for like other RPGs that came out in 1989 that I could compare to show how archaic the original Dragon Quest felt to Americans when it finally released. And I found Phantasy Star 2 came out that year. So there's my example.
There you go. Yeah, I need to watch that video. I haven't had time for much of anything. And frankly, my YouTube viewing habits as of late have been to support our pals that are also, doing this stuff. So I've been spending a lot of time on She Says his channel, especially his, because he just had his kid. But, watching a lot of Scott, watching a lot of Matt, all our pals that have been on the channel before. So I haven't been watching our videos lately, which I really need to do.
That's fine.
Right.
But I do know John called us all a bitch, which I didn't expect.
I didn't.
I mean,
I've not had a chance to watch the latest Cool Bit. So
he didn't call us
cool
bitches, but like he punctuates one of his segments with "you bitch," which I'm absolutely going to clip it out and use it. I hope you know that you've opened the door for this.
I love it.
We're going to ruin his commercial career.
Oh yeah. Plus, I'm speaking of his commercial career. He's in a commercial, and I'm so happy for him. He and I have been chatting on the side because he and I both are starting to work a little more on the side on our voiceover careers. I really want to get into more into voiceover. So does he, and so in fact does Brandon. So we've all actually been talking on the side about that, sharing tips and sharing leads and stuff. And I've actually, in fact, started working with my dad every week.
Nice.
He and I have like a private session
That's
every
awesome.
week now. We just had the first one this week where he is basically coach. He's my coach. He's my voiceover coach. He knows I am serious about doing more voiceover work. And ever since I got ever since I played Sans in Bandy's universe, I've been like, you know what? I think I want to do more acting. And especially just it was a bug that kind of bit me over the course of all the work we did at the old channel. And so I'm just like, I want to work with my voice more. And I am lucky enough to have my dad as a coach, who just happens to be one of the premier voice actors in the world. So I'm taking advantage of that. And we had our first session and I had just a blast. We had just so much fun. He gave me some copy to practice with and, coached me on getting out of my comfort zone and really acting and really going wild with it. And it was a lot of fun. So hopefully you'll hear all three of us doing more voiceover roles in the years to come. That's the goal.
It'd be
It
awesome.
was really fun to like take that commercial and just show it to Amy, like giving her no context whatsoever, just so she would hear his voice at the end and be like, "Oh my god!" Like she freaked out. It was pretty awesome.
I haven't seen John's commercial yet. We're gonna have to play that during the post show.
Oh, we should. Yeah,
I just popped it in the live audience so people can take a look if they want. So
nice.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. As well. That's exactly what I did with my wife and my dad for that part of Bandy's universes I was in. I just played it with no context, and you're like, oh, like my wife is like, oh, okay, it's Sans, this is cool, but what am I really watching? And I'm like, you don't recognize his voice at all. No, that's a good thing because it's me. And she's like, whoa, really? And she didn't know, and my dad didn't know it was me either, which I take as a very good sign. Yeah, he couldn't tell. So I'm taking that as a hopeful sign that I'm on the right track. We'll see how it goes, but I'm really going to be putting a lot of effort into that going forward because I really want to do it. But I digress. I digress. We do have some more super chats to read out. Of course, our good friend and patron Jaden Buck with $5. Thank you very much. Crazy Question Fridays. Crazy question number 69 with a Lenny face. All right, nice. Do you think it would be weird to have a crush on someone with the exact same name as you?
Yes.
Yes, because I don't quite swing that way. Ash, I think this applies most to you. You have the best chance of.
So I guess yes and no. I mean, if it was someone literally named Ashton, my full name, yes, that would be strange for me. But one of my earliest girlfriends, her name was Ashley, and she often just went by Ash, like I do. So in that sense, it wasn't that weird. So I'm going to say both yes and no. But in general, because I've met so many Ashes of both men and women, like that's not that strange to me.
It threw me off when I found out Ashley could also be a guy's name because I have Ashley Wright from Vagrant Story. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. So for me, I guess it's a little bit different from the rest of you. But yeah, for me, I can't say it would be that strange. So yeah, thank you. I can't believe there have already been 69 crazy questions, Jaden. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Next up is Disney Duncan with $5. Thank you so much, Duncan. I understand the controversy about Hogwarts Legacy. I'm only getting it because I love movies. Screw J.K. Rowling. Well, hey, you know what? That is a very personal decision. You do you. We're not talking about it on the show or on our channel because we don't want to support, the game and her, obviously. But that's a personal decision. And yes, screw J.K. Rowling and screw all transphobes. Straight up.
Wait, I think you I think you might have misspoke.
Hey, what?
I thought you said screw. Oh! I heard trans folks, not trans phobes.
No,
I was like, whoa, dude.
No, phobe. P-H-O-B-E.
I'm tired, man.
Oh, gosh.
Jeez.
All I'll say, if you want to play the game, wait for it used. Wait for reviews, too. We don't even know how good it's going.
Yeah, that's true. I was talking about this with a friend the other day, and I was like, I don't know that this is going to be the game that bucks the trend. You know what I mean? Like, I can't think of a Harry Potter game besides the Lego games that's good.
Right.
So I'm like, do we know this is going to be good? But again, I'm not a Harry Potter fan to begin with. So regardless of the controversy, I wouldn't pick it up.
Well, hopefully Jaden indeed did hear it the way I said it. I heard it as phobes. Good. Really glad to hear that.
No, fine.
God,
I
Steve,
just, like I said, man, I've been...
Either way, let's go ahead and move on. We don't need to linger on this.
We don't need to waste our breath on this any longer.
In fact, our very good friend Cutie Caitlin with $10, thank you very much, follows that up by saying trans rights are human rights and not supporting them is lame. Anyway, finally picked up my Nintendo Switch OLED. This screen and the lack of bezel is nice, but now I need to transfer over 400 gigabytes of games. That was me.
Pikmin moving.
Yeah, that was me just a few weeks ago. And,
they don't even have a function for that, do they? I don't think there is a way to transfer your games. Like, you have to re-download them. You can transfer saves and screenshots, but not games.
Right,
exactly.
Which is like, come on, Nintendo. That's like the slowest downloading system of this generation.
Well,
you can reuse the SD card, Caitlin, but you can't, like, the games that are on it will get wiped off. Like, you just have to go to the eShop and download them again. It's so dumb.
It's really, I had to basically store my screenshots and videos for my old Switch on my PC temporarily just to be able to transfer them or at least keep them. So, it's Nintendo. It's a bit of an archaic transfer process, but everything else, thankfully, worked. Although I did have a bit of a scare when I was setting up my OLED. I had that pit in my feeling stomach because, of course, the first game I wanted to check out on that screen was Smash. You know me, old habits die hard. But I had forgotten to re-download the DLC, even though I had transferred everything. Oh. So I opened it and I was like, oh my God, it didn't work. Where's all my stuff? And then I realized, no, my data's there. Just the DLC isn't. It's okay. Crisis averted, but it scared the hell out of me. Not fun. And yes, Caitlin, just to say it out loud for everyone in the back, trans rights are human rights.
Yeah,
and not supporting them is lame. Hell, yes, you know how we roll here at GVG, and that is absolutely the truth. All right, one more super chat for now, then we'll move on to the news. Dion Hun, I hope I said that right, Dion. Thank you very much for the $5. Hey, GVGcast, I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you guys talk about the Kirby box art leak and what's going on with E3. Well, we are going to talk about one of those things. We're talking about E3. The box art leak didn't seem like it was a big enough deal for us to talk about, but basically, yes, it looks like there's going to be a little new added content in the post game of Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, a Magalore focused mode, which could be very
man. They
cool.
are putting a lot of content in here. Like, I'm probably not going to pick up Return to Dreamland right away, but there is a lot.
Right,
I'll give them that.
Right. So yeah, that's so we will be talking about E3 though for sure, but yeah, there just wasn't enough to talk about regarding Kirby that we included it in the main news for this week. But thank you very much for that, for the reminder. And speaking of the main news this week, there is quite a bit to talk about, including something that Odyssey in our YouTube chat just posted right after that super chat, and that is there is a brand new Super Mario Brothers movie poster released today. It is the official poster. I assume we have all seen it, and it is. I said this on Twitter. I'll say it.
Gorgeous.
It's hot, man. I'm so excited.
It is so pretty.
It is so pretty. And I love how menacing Bowser looks, the way he's looking down at Mario and everyone else. He just looks so cool and menacing in this poster.
Yeah, the poster looks incredible. I'm so hyped for this movie at this point. It's going to be a good time. I'm convinced that at minimum it'll be just, good, just good old-fashioned fun.
So, fun story about this. We have shown Kai every single bit of media that's come out about this Mario movie, and every time he just gets laser focused on the screen. Never seen it quite like that, where he just completely absorbed. And it's gotten to the point now that he just loves Mario stuff in general. Where we have a few shirts of Mario.
I love that.
And he'll insist, he wants to wear those shirts. That's what he wants to wear right now. Amy has a Mario shirt, and he went up to it and pulled on her shirt so he could see it better and go. And he just went, "That's cool." Just saying that. And it's just really funny to see how into Mario he is, mainly because of this movie.
That's so great, though. I mean, he's learning early, which I love.
Yeah.
I hope you can take him to see the movie. Do you think he'll be able to sit through a movie in a theater?
I'm going to give it a shot. I've heard 10 a.m. showings are the best bet. People are used to having loud kids for that sort of thing. So we'll probably try that. I would like to see if he could see it. For those who aren't aware, Kai is a little over 2 years now. Sorry. He turned 2 back in November, so
it should be fine. I took my kids to movies around that age, and I mean, like you said, you kind of pick the showing that you think will be right, but also with a movie like this, I feel as an adult who wants to see the movie, it's kind of foolish to expect there not to be kids at any showing that you go to, right? Because this is very clearly a movie that is trying to hit those of us that are big fans, but also just general broad family appeal. This is I would not expect a movie with a poster like this to not have kids in the audience. So, I'd say it's fine. And you're always going to have those snobs that, think a kid making noise is like a cardinal sin at a movie that's aimed at kids. But I just have to push past that as a parent and be like, yeah, you know what? Sure. This is what you signed up for walking into this movie as well.
Right. Derrick, did Kai ever take any of his shine to the Sonic movies at all, or did he kind of just?
He hasn't quite. I haven't really tried the Sonic movies. I should try. I should attempt. The issue is, I don't know if Sonic is streaming anywhere because I have the Blu-ray of the Sonic movie, the first one.
I'm almost certain it's on Paramount Plus.
God, I hate Paramount Plus. That is a terrible service. Unfortunately, Kai, long ago, and I didn't realize it until a little bit later, took our copy of Super Mario Sunshine that was in the GameCube that was on the thing, took it out of the GameCube and slid it into the PS4.
Oh no.
And we have not been able to we can put discs in there, but it won't, and they'll eject, but they won't play because of that. And because it's a PS4 Pro and the way you get it, there's no good way to open it and to get it out. I don't know what to do to save that disc and allow us to actually watch Blu-rays again. So
there's gotta be a way. I mean, I haven't looked it up.
The only advice is use a screwdriver to put in a specific hole, and it puts regular size discs out, but because it's a GameCube disc, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I want to say Becca in our live audience chat is agreeing with me that it should be easy to open. I think you flip it over and then you have to take screws out of the bottom, if I remember correctly. But I would lay dollars to donuts that Spawnwave has a video showing exactly how to do it.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been that way for a while. But I've not tried Sonic with Kai. But I mean, he's played Sonic, a little bit of Sonic Mania. He did the thing where Tails carries you on his own somehow. I don't even know how to do that.
I think the big difference between the Mario movie and the Sonic movie, as it relates to small children, is that the environments in the Sonic movie are comparatively uninteresting, right? Because the Mushroom Kingdom is full 3D, fantastical, wild, crazy, super colorful world, which that kind of stuff grabs young kids' attention. Whereas Sonic is put into a comparatively drab world, the real world.
It works better for, I guess, kids probably 5 to 7.
Yeah.
That age range.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, he'll get there.
Oh yeah. I mean, we'll show it to him eventually. I tried to show him Sonic Prime, and he watched a half an episode, and then he was like, I'm done.
Oh, all right, fair enough. Well, hey, he's got the Mario movie for now. There's plenty of time to watch that stuff later.
Oh yeah.
Well, if it has been a really good week for Mario fans because of this hype poster, it has been a very bad week for fans and developers of games as a service. This we didn't see it coming, but live service games got just hammered this past week with a past week and change, with a grand total of 9 live service games announcing they are shutting down their service and closing up shop for good. We got Apex Legends Mobile, Battlefield Mobile, Crime Site, Crossfire X, Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai, Echo VR, Knockout City, Love Live, School Idol Festival, and Rumbleverse. Now, I will say Love Live doesn't quite count because it's only shutting down as it's getting another sequel that's coming out next month. So that one doesn't quite count. But the rest, I mean, it's just as the week wore on, we just kept hearing of cancellation after cancellation. And I'm not a big live service game guy myself, other than Fall Guys. Obviously, you guys know I love Fall Guys. I play it every week with my friends. But it's kind of brutal to see the carnage here for fans and developers of games as a service. And I kind of feel a little sad about Knockout City. I played that for a while, really liked it. It's a genuinely great game, and it's going bye-bye. It's kind of a shame. But did you guys play any of these? And do you have any feelings about any of these?
I've not played any of them. I heard it. I was surprised when everybody said Knockout City was really good, and
it's really fun.
Apparently it suffered from its own success where they were just a small indie team and it blew up and they just weren't able to keep up with it. So.
Right.
Yeah, Knockout City, I tried it. I didn't really love it. I played a few matches here and there. I didn't think it was bad. It wasn't a game I was going to go back to unless I was obligated to do so. Sure. I'm a little surprised that 1, I haven't heard of, and 2, that Dragon Quest Dai looks pretty great. The visual style of it is fantastic.
I think we were supposed to get an actual console game of this eventually, which I don't know much about. The most I know about Dragon Quest Adventures of Dai is basically that it came to be because the person who got Toriyama to work on it was like, well, since you're working with Shonen Jump, we can have a manga based in the world of Dragon Quest, and that's where Dai comes in.
Oh, right, okay.
So that's how that whole thing works. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a damn shame. I personally really thought Knockout City was fun, but as Ellendor in our live audience chat pointed out, Knockout City did say they're going to make a private server available for those who want to still keep playing it. So it's not completely going away. But, selfishly, this makes me... I mean, I could definitely say from personal experience, Fall Guys has not been as good since the shift to going free to play and becoming a live service game. And so that makes me selfishly a little worried that Fall Guys might be on more borrowed time than I initially thought.
I disagree with that.
Okay, I can see the other side too. So I hope you're right. I think
Fall Guys was a very unhealthy game before it went free to play.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
I feel the player base was dwindling, and it was going to be shuttered if they didn't make that move.
No, and you're right. What I mean is the actual quality of the game. Like, there are so many stages from previous seasons that have been vaulted that you can't play anymore, and they're not addressing technical problems. They're obviously hyper focused on the premium content in the shop. So I agree with you. It probably wouldn't have lasted as long if they didn't make the shift, but it's kind of like it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Because the game itself, for us longtime players, maybe took a bit of a dive in quality when
growth
it did
at the
make
cost
the
of quality.
Exactly. Exactly. But
makes sense.
It's still fun. Hopefully it sticks around for a while yet. It is still fun. Other than the other news we have to talk about, I have some breaking news, our favorite kind of breaking news, in fact. Sean Davis just resubscribed to our Patreon at the executive producer tier again.
Oh, thank you.
They were an EP before, and they had to drop for a little while, and they are back. They announced it in YouTube chat, and I just added, Steve, just so you know, I just added Sean's name to the EP spread for the end of the show. So you will have your name read out, Sean, just so you're aware today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for resubscribing to the executive producer tier. And as a reminder, patreon.com/GVGaming. We have a bunch of tiers you can support us at, starting at just $1 a month. So with that said, let's go ahead and talk about a bit more news. And here's one of the other big ones you guys have been wanting us to talk about, E3. Oof.
Boy.
E3. So
it is so dead. It is so dead.
Yeah. So our good friend Kat Bailey, former Today's News Tonight guest, friend of the channel, dear friend of mine, reported over on IGN exclusively that they have heard from multiple sources that the big three are not going to be at E3, meaning, of course, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox or Microsoft. So I don't know where you go from there. I'm personally... I don't mean that there's no E3 going forward for no reason, but I'm personally a little bummed because this was going to be our show the first show that we all got to cover together as a team. And I don't know that we can justify the cost really if the big three aren't going to be there.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I've gone to many in E3. And this definitely is a huge blow to the credibility of the show. That being said, Microsoft is kind of sorta there. They're pulling a Devolver and they're doing their own thing outside of the show. Who knows what that is and what the details are, but Microsoft has officially said that they're doing that. So we know that there will be something going on with Microsoft around that time.
Not part of E3 itself.
Right. I think one of the things people don't realize, it's obvious when you call it out loud, but being at E3 costs these guys millions of dollars. Sure. Like, it is millions to for a publisher to be at E3. One, you have the booth space, which I've heard can be into the hundreds of thousands of dollars just to have the space for the booth. Then you have the materials for the booth, right? Which is, again, probably, I assume, a lot.
Then the employees.
Of which there are tons. And Nintendo typically, I'm the most familiar with Nintendo because that's the one we've all traditionally covered the most. But I've counted dozens of people manning demos, which are not Nintendo employees. Those are like contractors they hire, and then they teach them how to run the demo. But then you have the people who are on Nintendo's payroll who are there for the show, who are not doing their regular jobs, right? They're attending to E3, and that's like the biggest people in the company. You're talking like Doug Bowser, Kit and Krista back when they were with Nintendo were there. You know,
all the people doing the treehouse for how many hours?
Yeah,
Right.
and you know, you for bigger years, Miyamoto's there, Aonuma's there, you know, Koizumi's there, like depending on what games are being shown. So it can cost the company, I would guess, probably north of $5 to $6 million just to put on a week-long show. And Nintendo doesn't gain anywhere near that amount of value from people like us covering the games there, just realistically speaking. They get way more from doing a direct and letting all the fans see the stuff.
Because they avoid all the noise. They avoid all the competition, the noise. They're speaking directly to their fan base, to their core audience, and spending much less, not even much less, astronomically less money than it would take to have a presence, a full presence at E3. So, Steve, you're totally right, man. I it's always humbling for me. I've done a lot of convention booth work over the years, and you know, when I am a part of the budgeting process and I see just how much it costs just to even have a small booth at a convention like PAX West, if you're just a small business with a small booth, it can be staggeringly expensive. So, you know, you're right. It especially with the steady loss of credibility that the ESA have suffered over the past several years, and of course the pandemic happened, which put a further
part of me
stymie on everything.
Feels kind of justified that ever since they leaked, they doxed everybody, that they've gone downhill. It's like, karma.
And I agree. I guess I've said that in the past. Like, we got doxed, and that pissed me off the ESA so much. At the same time, though, I do feel for all the smaller game developers out there for whom E3 was a genuinely useful tool to be able to network with other small developers and get FaceTime with bigger developers and publishers. And I'm going to miss it personally, selfishly, because I want to hang out with you guys. I want to cover a show like we did at the old channel properly as a full team. But it's hard to justify.
I get that. And I'm still going to go. I feel like it's important to go. Well, you're around the corner. But,
yeah, exactly.
It's a little harder for me to go.
I plan on going. It's like a 5-hour drive for me. I think I'm going to take it easier than I normally would. I'm not going to pack all the same stuff I normally would. But I do want to see, like we did with PAX in 2021, what the state of an E3 without the big three is. Because PAX was awkward. Like, it was 2021 really strange. I don't think this is the death knell for E3, but I think this is E3 yet again failing to find its correct footing. I think Sony, in 2019, when they publicly backed out, pretty clearly said, we want it back the way it was. And if you don't do that, we're not coming.
Are they talking about not having it be a public show?
Exactly. I think that for at least Sony seemed to be my interpretation of what they were saying, because it is hard to do a public facing show. And once the public show happened, the show floor was terrifyingly crowded.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the thing is, they're there to get it to the press. All of a sudden the press can't get there to cover your games.
I've been going to E3 for years, and the first E3 that was open to the public was the first time my badge was ever stolen. Someone stole my badge, and E3 tried to refuse me entrance. I had to get on the phone with people at the ESA to get a badge to do my job.
Oh yeah.
And I tried telling them, I was like, hey, look, I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, but like, I have days worth of meetings set up and we're on day 1, and I have to tell everyone that I have to cancel all of those appointments because someone robbed me and you won't let me back in. Like, that is messed up. And Nintendo, when I got to Nintendo that year, I won't say who for obvious reasons, but they told me they've been in similar situations with the ESA where one of their people got their badge taken off them while they were walking around, and Nintendo had to implement a system where they pin their badge into their clothing so that someone can't take it. But they said it was super common. So
Mikey O'Leary in our YouTube chat says, if you remember, that was also the year they banned Greg Miller, which was overturned because someone forged his badge.
Yep.
Yeah. If Greg Miller can be banned, anybody can be. Jeez.
Right. The only good thing to come out of the public showing of that is that's how I met Amy.
Right.
That's the only plus out of that whole situation.
E3
Yeah,
did
I mean,
the thing right.
exactly.
Precisely,
I do hope it's able to survive in a form that makes sense for us to go to in the future. Just because, again, selfishly, I want to bring us all together, and we typically can't do that for PAX. Doesn't really make sense. We'll see. It's it's obviously not all about us, but
I think
I will miss it if it doesn't ever return in that kind of form again.
The big fear is that they kind of had this. I don't want to say fog, but like this aura of, E3 was the biggest gathering in gaming, and it kind of was a self-perpetuating thing for many years. But now, thanks to both, the pandemic and the fact that they've kind of just fumbled with the show itself in the last few years, the big three have started to realize, like, we don't need to spend all this money and all this time.
I think Nintendo kind of proved it with the directs.
Yeah.
It's a shame, because I hope that we do get to a day, again, like Ash said, very selfishly, where we get to see those big, crazy showpiece booths that Nintendo would build for E3. Like the Breath of the Wild one in 2016 was
so
just so good. And I hope we get those again, but understandably, I won't, I can see which way the wind's blowing. It'll be interesting. I think 2024 will be the real, for sure, either redemption or nail in the coffin of E3.
I'm going to say right now, I'm going to predict it, nail in the coffin. I don't think they can recover.
I hate to say it, but I do kind of agree. I'm not saying I 100% am certain that they won't recover, but I kind of don't feel like it's likely. I do, in a way, hope I'm
you were
wrong.
the first to point out, Ash, that like Jeff immediately there just.
So I was going to say, not
that Summer Games Fest is worth a damn. I'll be honest. Like, it's just like these people are doing this thing. It's part of Game Fest. I swear, it's part of Game Fest, even though it seems unrelated completely.
I do love how brazenly bloodthirsty he's become about this, though. He's not even trying to hide his intention anymore. The very same day this came out, the guy he tweeted out, "Oh yeah, Summer Game Fest. Here's when it's happening." And just remember, Summer Game Fest, without obviously calling out E3, he didn't need to. The intent was clear. He is out for blood, taking no prisoners. And even though it's a bit of a dick move, I can't help but chuckle. I couldn't help but chuckle when I saw that, because I'm like, you were ready for that. You were ready to pounce. So, yeah, Steve, we'll see what happens in 2024. I do tend to think, agree with Derrick that it might be the death knell, but I do also think that it has that one more year. 2024 will be the final true test to see, and maybe they can work some magic. We'll see what happens. ReedPop is in charge now, and they have a strong track record of success in the convention space. So we'll see how that goes. All right, let's bang out a few more super chats, talk about a couple more things, and including the other thing we have on our thumb today, and then we'll move on to our patron topics for the week.
We haven't talked about any of the things on our thumb yet.
I guess. Well, yeah, that's obviously coming too, but it's kind of its own discussion. But Mr. Dwayne 191 with $4.99. Thank you very much. Evening, GVG crew. For the next Smash Brothers game, I was thinking Chai from Hi-Fi Rush could be in the roster. He could be the first rhythm character. You won't get any argument from us. I don't expect it to actually happen, but sure, I'd love to see it happen. I adore that game, and I know Steve does too.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Very close to having been my game of the month.
Yeah. RecBCQ.
I'm actually surprised it didn't beat Fire Emblem Engage. It was just the way people were talking about it.
I'm surprised too, actually. Yeah, it was definitely my game of the month. Next up, our good friend RecBCQ with $5. Thank you very much. Was looking through old files and found that drawing I did where I drew you three as rabbits in a bathtub. I posted in the general chat in Discord. Hell yeah.
Oh my god.
Good times. I love that drawing.
Rex super chat, so it blue screened. But we're back. You should be able to hear and see all of us, hopefully.
Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. That was a surprise.
Yes. I mean, you get us in a tub and things break. Who knew?
Yeah.
The computer didn't like the idea of us in a bathtub.
Well, speaking of, Rec is going to get his proper shout out, his proper readout. So when we lost y'all, we were reading out RecBCQ's $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Was looking through old files and found that drawing I did where I drew you three as rabbits in a bathtub. I posted in the general chat in Discord, which, that's a very good memory of mine, a very treasured memory. I love that piece, and I'm so glad you reminded us of it. It was a lot of fun. Thank you very much, Rec. Next up, we've got $5 from ABCDEFGH. Thank you very much. Hey, GVG, wanted to give a heads up to watch out for that John guy, vaguely threatening us about him knowing that thing you did in his 8-bit vid, LOL.
And what the heck is up with this 8-bits vid? He calls us a
know.
bitch. He knows about this thing we did. What the hell?
He got famous and it's gone to his head. He's too powerful now. We can't stop him.
That thing we did could mean anything. I mean, I've done a lot of things in my time on this earth, so I don't know.
I just want to remind John that I have video from E3 2019. Just
very true,
John.
That is very, very true.
That doesn't mean anything, by the way. He didn't do anything terrible.
No.
So you think?
That's
so
true.
You think? By the way, I want to mention really quick, Squire earlier in our YouTube or Patron chat when we were talking about E3 just said The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Los Angeles Convention Center, and it made me chuckle because that's a perfect summation of the whole thing.
One thing I wanted to add as an addendum to that, just because I read through Kat's report, which is excellent, and I recommend you read it before you make a decision one way or the other on E3. But one of the heavy implications from both her and VGC's reporting is that Nintendo isn't going because it's claimed they have nothing to show, that they're at the end of the Switch's life, and thus like Tears of the Kingdom is like the last thing, and so they don't have the goods to put on like an E3 style event, which is interesting because I'm convinced that even if there's a new console coming next year, they have to fill out the back half of the calendar with stuff.
I mean, we know Pikmin 4 is coming.
We know Metroid Prime 4 at the very least. So I think they have content.
I think Prime 4 is the next console's Breath of the Wild or Twilight Princess moment. I think that's going to be cross-gen at this point.
Mm-hmm. I could see it.
Possibly.
I could see it. Geeky Griffin sowing some doubt here in our live audience chat saying, but Tears won't be out before E3. I mean, if it gets delayed, that's true. But at this point, I don't think it's
that is like
delayed.
a Birdo size egg on their
just
face.
tweet out saying 100 days to go.
They just did exactly. They just did that. So I don't think it's going to be delayed at this point.
Take the piss like that. Yeah, that would not be good.
No, I don't either. All right. Next up, we've got $10 again from RecBCQ. Thank you very much. There is another editing software called DaVinci that's supposed to be better in multiple ways for one performance. It's a one-time purchase with a free version that has 90% of the features. This is, of course, video editing software, and I've heard of DaVinci. I've never used it, but I've heard good things.
I've not heard of it.
So I handle our sponsorships, and while we've been doing the show, they approached us about a sponsorship. So who are you really? What?
Well, yeah.
I think you know what you're doing.
Amazing. Oh, okay. A little suspicious there. All right. Thank you very much, Rec. And then one more super chat for now from our good friend and patron, Grantles, with $1.99. Thank you very much, Grant. Derp, that's it. That's the super chat. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And all right, let's talk about a couple more news stories, namely our main stories, at least as presented on the Thumb this week. First off, there's a demo that came out this week that I obviously was very excited about, and turns out got Derrick really excited about as well. And that is, of course, the Theatrhythm Final Bar Line demo. Came out on both Switch and PS4 on Wednesday. And it's a pretty beefy demo. It includes 30 songs across 5 Final Fantasy games, 2, 5, 7, 14, and 15. And all your save data or all your progress carries over to the full version when it launches later this month. And Derrick, I'm going to let you go ahead and start this off because everybody knows how hyped I am about Theatrhythm Final Bar Line. That's no secret. But what pulled you in to this?
I mean, I've been excited just like you, but you're just known more as the
rhythm games,
the rhythm game guy. I mean, I've liked rhythm games in the past, and I've liked Theatrhythm. I just didn't get a chance to really knuckle down with it as much as I have with other games, so I missed out on that chance. But I was seeing just the amount of songs and everything else. It's like, okay, this is perfect. And if with this demo, if I could actually play while I'm watching Kai, if he'll actually watch it with me, maybe, because nothing else right now is working. Like he won't let me play anything else. He sits there, not for long, but enough that I can get like 4 or 5 songs in, and he'll sit there next to me and just be like, just watch it. The characters go by, listening to the music. He digs it. So I'm like, okay, I got something. I can actually play something while I'm watching him, rather than watch Bluey for the entirety of Bluey for the 15th time.
Oh yeah.
So, and the thing is, the gameplay is great. It took me a little while to figure out the controls until I figured out with especially the field ones, that you just have to hold up or down, rather than try to match exactly.
No, you just go full tilt up or full tilt down. Yeah.
Yeah. That's that.
I'm 12, dude. I heard you say full tilt.
I heard it. I heard it as I said it. Yes, I heard it too. Yeah.
No, now keep in mind, I really like Bluey. For those people who like Bluey slaps, like Bluey is really good. But I've seen the episodes so many times I can quote them. Although I did see a new segment that made me laugh like crazy. But we'll save that for the post show. I feel like that's post show worthy. Cool. Either way, demo's really good. Playing through Final Fantasy 14 songs, really fun. And before the show, I actually got the chance to play co-op with Amy.
Nice.
And that's really fun. In field stages, you each get 1 line and are matching along. In battle stages, you each get 2. And I don't know, it's kind of fun to just have your own section and work together. It was kind of neat. So I'm probably going to pick it up.
I can't wait. By the way, before I launch into my whole hype line for Final Bar Line, Steve, just so you know, man. Oh, chat's been fixed, it looks like.
Yeah,
people were pointing out that chat was frozen. Live audio chat was frozen. You fixed it. All good. Final Bar Line. Obviously, I'm so freaking excited. I flipped out on Twitter when I heard about the demo. I've already that's basically the only thing I had time to play this week. I've unfortunately stalled on Pokemon Violet. Have not really been able to make much progress in anything else just because work was so crazy this week, but I did carve out some time for the Theatrhythm demo. Already unlocked all the songs and am playing through everything on Ultimate right now, and I'm loving it.
I can only handle Expert. I'm not that good.
Well, see, here's the thing. So like I've actually had a bit of a bitter pill to swallow because this demo has been very humbling. I don't toot my own horn very often, but I will be honest. I was a top level player in Curtain Call. I'm good at rhythm games in general, but I was really damn good with the stylus controls with Curtain Call and the original. And by really good, I mean triple S every ultimate score, full critical, most songs, perfect chain, full perfect chain, full critical, triple S. I was really good at Curtain Call, but the stylus controls are no more. It's button only, and I play a ton of button only rhythm games, but for whatever reason, I've taken a real hit to my skill level in terms of having to relearn how to do everything with just the button controls.
You're not the only one I've heard from this. I have another friend who was really into the 3DS versions and used to the touchscreen, and to go back to buttons, it's like, it's like having to just relearn things. So
I'm still having a great time with it, and it's just been a bit humbling, I guess, but I'm still having a great time with it. And I'll get there. I already feel myself improving and getting more used to the button controls again. But it was just a bit of a shocker. Like, I figured I was going to go in, be all cool, and be like, oh man, I'm already really damn good at this. No, it turns out I'm just kind of good, but not really good yet. But I'll get there.
Still better than me. If you're doing Ultimate already, it's like, dear God.
I've done a couple of Supreme scores, and I've basically passed and at least gotten a single S rank in all the Ultimates so far.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I mean, there's certain quests where you unlock the things that I've not been able to do because I can't do a high enough level to it. I just get my butt kicked. So I'm like, okay, I'll have to work up to this. I eventually did it in Persona 4 dancing, so I'm sure I could do it at this. But does it kill you like it kills me that your Rhythmia is capped at 2,000?
Yes, that's the one thing about the demo. It's like, that's such a low cap.
It really is. Like, you cap that within 10 songs.
It's easy. Yeah, easy. Even though you can get all the characters in your party in the demo up to level 30, which takes way more than that. Way more than that. You'd have way more than 2,000 Rhythmia by the time you raised everybody to level 30. So that's a bit of a misfire. I feel on the demo.
5,000 or something. Like 2,000 feels too low.
So Steve, I didn't want to assume that you weren't as excited about Final Bar Line, but I had a feeling just from your face that you're not like necessarily.
I'm It's not that I'm unexcited. I just haven't played it. I didn't get to play the demo at all. I actually really enjoyed the 3DS Theatrhythm games.
Nice.
I picked one up on Amazon Japan for no joke, like $2 back in the day. Like I had just been browsing games and it was like 249 yen. Brand new. So I bought it.
Wow.
And I was like, this is utterly delightful. and it got me into the series. But like I said, I've been working a ton this week and I, had the Game of the Month video to put out. So I've played almost nothing. Like I've played maybe an hour of games this whole week. Which ironically was spent playing Enter the Gungeon from like 2015 or something.
Oh, nice. That is actually one thing I was able to do on our channel this week is I streamed the Final Bar Line demo live. It was a late night stream. It was like 11 to 2 in the morning over on our Twitch, but I still did it. And I had a lot of fun with our audience and our patrons, just trying to relearn the game with button controls and, just experiencing all the musical splendor this game has to offer. And I will, of course, be doing a launch day stream as well when the full game comes out later this month. I could not be more excited. I just can't wait to play the full game. All these other songs, all the non-Final Fantasy stuff coming as DLC. I need that hooked up right into my veins, and I can't wait. Derrick, anything else you wanted to mention before we move on to?
Have you gone through all the unlockables, all the stuff to unlock? There's like thousands. There's like over.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I'll probably never do it. I mean, there are like thousands of collector cards and. I'm sure I'll unlock all the songs, and I'm going to play the vast majority of the songs, if not eventually all of them, over a long period of time. But yeah, I highly doubt I'll be getting all the collector cards and everything. It's just, I didn't get them all in Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory either. There's so much grinding involved in doing that. It's just doesn't seem very realistic. But I can already see myself losing a lot of time to this game over a prolonged stretch of time. So
yeah, it's definitely going digital just so I can boot it up anytime and just play a few songs.
Yeah.
Does it not have? Did you guys play it on Switch or PlayStation?
Both.
Switch.
Does it not have touch controls in handheld mode on Switch?
It doesn't.
Really?
They have entirely removed the touch controls. And to be fair, while I do miss them, I'm not sure I miss them so much that I'd be willing to scuff up my OLED screen for them.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know that I would. I mean, although I did scuff up my 3DS's bottom screen and didn't mind that. So, yeah.
Steve,
but,
all your comments did is remind me. Is like I don't know if it's as good, but I am curious what Theatrhythm Dragon Quest is like. Since that was
Japan,
that would be
fun.
One we never got. And also, Cutie Caitlin, to answer your question in our live audience chat, no, if the first two games on 3DS didn't do anything for you, I don't think Curtain Call is going to change. Final Bar Line is going to change your mind, at least from a gameplay standpoint. If you appreciate all the music in there, great, but you can also just listen to that on YouTube if you want. Whereas, if you're not into the gameplay of the first two games, I don't necessarily think Final Bar Line is going to change your mind. Personally, that's just my take on it. But all right, Bubs, we got one more story to talk about today. I don't think this will take very long, but that is, of course, Wolverine, Insomniac's Wolverine game to be exact. And we have a few more details that personally kind of piqued my interest a bit. So this comes from the game post on Twitter via Jeff Grubb. It's going to be they're going for a hard R, so it's going to be M-rated for sure. They're going for a hard R. Insomniac are trying to avoid any links that evoke the Fox X-Men movies. Probably a good thing. And the game starts before Wolverine joins the X-Men, and they are aiming for a release in fall 2024 or 2025. So I'm guessing that means fall 2024 / early 2025. But this is all. I was already pretty excited. I love the X-Men. I love Wolverine, but these additional tidbits we're getting piqued my interest even more. What about you guys?
I mean, I hear this. Go ahead, Steve. I talked a lot during Theatrhythm.
No worries. I was going to say, I'm a huge fan of Insomniac's output, especially,
Same.
I mean, they've proven themselves capable of handling top tier superhero content with Spider-Man.
Yep.
And I'm Spider-Man 2 is like going to be a game of the year contender for me, I'm certain. But but I like the idea that they're not going to take, Spider-Man is what I would call a safe superhero. He's a very clean, like doesn't get down in the dirt kind of superhero, but there are a lot of really graphic takes on Wolverine within the canon of the comics. So I'm glad to see that they're going for something that is a very different tone from Spider-Man. So I think it's a good release window in my opinion. It makes me wonder it's crazy to say, but will we have like a new PS5 variant by then, or are we going to have a mid-gen refresh at that point? But I like the idea also of not tying Wolverine to the X-Men, because I think that could overcomplicate things. Having too many heroes in one game can definitely water down the appeal of it, because then you have to come up with systems for all these varied sets of powers, and none of them get the attention they deserve. So I think this is good. I think this is the right path to take with this, especially since the last movie was Logan, and that was a pretty hardcore superhero movie.
It sure was.
Yeah.
Yep. I was thinking the same thing.
It'd be kind of cool if the story of this is a sort of an adaptation of his first story in comics, where his duty is, hey, we need you to go assassinate the Hulk.
Ooh.
So him hunting down the Hulk and then having the sequel be Wolverine and the Hulk, where you could to be both of them. That'd be cool. If we do that. But I saw Fall 54 mention it as well. So it's the first thing I thought of when I saw this news. X-Men Origins Wolverine. I don't know if either of you have played that game. It is so good.
It's actually really good, right? Yeah.
The movie sucks, but the game is fantastic.
I remember that.
And definitely goes for, he has claws. These claws eat people, chew people up. So let's really show that. And with the way, like, how hard of an M rating are we going for here? Are we going to see like viscera, or is it just going to be bloody? That's what I'm like.
I mean, when I hear hard R, like, I mean, one, I don't like that they used hard R. I mean, could you?
That's why I said M.
Yeah.
Nice.
But in terms of when I think of like, I mean, I get what they're trying to imply by saying hard R. To me, that implies like dismemberment, disfigurement, that kind of stuff. Like not just blood, right?
Right.
I wouldn't say quite Mortal Kombat level, because I'd consider that more NC-17. But I would say it's definitely on the, like GTA 3 was a M-rated game, and you could shoot arms and legs off of people in that game.
Right.
So I think it's going to be close to that. I think we're going to see like limbs get removed. I mean, Wolverine's definitely going to have a move where he at least cuts someone's hand off at some point. But and if it's an origin story, we might even see the really gross, like first time he pops his claws and there's like blood everywhere, and they kind of made a point that it does not feel good when he has to use them.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you, Steve. I think everything we're hearing is the right direction they should be going in with it. It's just making me even more excited for it. On a slightly related note, just because we're also getting that X-Men 97 cartoon that's like a reboot of the 90s show, please let's have Dotemu and Tribute work on a new X-Men beat 'em up after Shredder's Revenge.
That'd be cool.
With X-Men 97, 6 players, please. Can we have that? Can we make that happen? Let's do it, please.
I do want to say it feels like this could be huge for Sony, because Sony, they acquired Insomniac, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if they can continue to get more Marvel properties and have that be part of their first party stable, is just like, hey, we're the guys that make like AAA Marvel games. That could be huge for PlayStation to have this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's exciting to see, but Insomniac. When's our next Ratchet?
That too.
Where's the DLC for Rift Apart? I figured we'd at least get like I
figured we wouldn't get
story,
a
but
DLC or anything like that.
Man, I kind of thought we'd get a Rivet like focused DLC, but I guess not.
Not. I'm hopeful that Sony has to know that of all their internal studios, Santa Monica and Insomniac are basically the crown jewels of their empire right now. They need to just give Insomniac however much money they need to make whatever they want. Like these guys seem like they can do no wrong at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right. Well, that does wrap up our news for the week. Just really quick, a quick PSA. If you are a PS5 owner and you have not redeemed your PlayStation Plus collection games, go do that, because they're expiring on May 9th, and you get a bunch of great games just for being a PlayStation Plus member and having a PS5, but you do have to redeem them before May 9th or you lose them forever. So just a quick PSA for those of you out there for whom that affects. Let's go ahead and read out a few more super chats, and then we'll move on to our patron topics for the week. First, we've got $5 from Seafoam Gaming. Thank you very much. Theatrhythm is my lifeblood, and I cannot wait. In other news, I'm continuing to push promotion on my Pokemon Mystery Dungeon video retrospective on YouTube. Well, there you go. Go check out Seafoam Gaming on YouTube and check out their Mystery Dungeon video retrospective. And thank you very much, Seafoam Gaming, for the super chat. Next up, we've got Story Smith with $4.99. Thank you so much. Did y'all see the Completionist's new video? Gerard's company is going to be making video games. Yes, I did see that, and I'm so excited for him. Yeah.
Oh, that's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
I have not seen that myself, but that's great to hear.
I wish him all the best.
I saw that Chadtronic's making a video game too that's very much inspired by the Chow Garden. So all these YouTubers getting into game making. The heck?
Right. Next up, $5 from Lord Clump, one of our newest executive producers. Thank you very much, Lord Clump. I probably shouldn't push too hard, but am I allowed to bring up my project I've told you about, Ash? Like in the Discord chat I've been in live. I mean, you certainly can in the super chat. I can just mention that you are working on an indie game of your own. It looks really cool from what you've shown us, but yeah, like we can't necessarily do a whole segment on it, but certainly if you bring it up like you did just now in the super chat, that's totally fine. And I think you mentioned it's still like a year out from release or so, but would love to hear more about it as it gets closer and closer to completion. Thank you, Lord Clump. And one more for now. Sean Davis with $2. Thank you very much. Thoughts on Detective Pikachu 2 happening? That was something else that happened this week. Legendary Pictures, I think it's Legendary, did confirm that apparently Detective Pikachu 2 is still coming, is still in the works.
Oh, really? I missed that.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
My thoughts are cool. I hope it happens. Detective Pikachu was fun, and I would love to see another one. I don't really have any more thoughts than that, but I hope it gets made.
Yeah, it'll be a neat movie when it comes out, I'm sure.
Yeah,
exactly. All right. Well, we'll read out the rest of the super chats at the end of the show, but for now, we do have topics to discuss suggested by our amazing patrons at the producer tier and above. Quick reminder: patreon.com/GVGaming, and this is a perk reserved for our producers at the $10 a month tier and above. So, thank you very much for to all of you who have suggested topics for this week. Steve, why don't you go first this week, man?
Sure. So my topic comes from Blaystar25, who writes, "You can only play one console for the rest of your life. Which one are you choosing? Also, you can only play games that originally released on that console, so no virtual console or ports of old games allowed," which influenced my decision heavily.
Yes.
Because that throws the Switch out the window for me, unfortunately. Because I think one of the Switch's greatest strengths is the fact that like everything's on it. Like they've ported every good game in the history of gaming to that thing at this point. So without those, I think it loses a lot of its value. I don't know if the caveat is that the games still work the way they did when the console was out, because I feel like that's also critical. We just talked about 10, games as a service games that got killed this month. But I would have to say the Dreamcast. I had a lot of fun with my Dreamcast. My Dreamcast is still in my active rotation of consoles, decades on. And I think if in 1999 you had told me this is it for you forever, I'd be like, all right, that's good. I like this thing. I think there's a lot of innovative games on there, a lot of goofy, fun ones, a lot of really good 2D fighters. The Dreamcast had, for such a short-lived console, it had a really great library. So
yeah, it did.
And it was mostly original games, like not ports of old games. So I'd say based on that alone, I would choose it. But if I was able to play the whole library how it released, it would have been the Switch. But since you had that no ports rule, I have to go with the Dreamcast.
Yeah. I have to assume no backwards compatibility doesn't count either. So.
It's so hard. Yeah, I mean, it's that rule is what makes this very difficult for me. Because like you, Steve, I was initially going to say, oh, Switch, like I've got all the great Switch specific games, but then I've got things like Mega Man Legacy Collection and all these collections of older and retro games that I love so much to this day. So I get the best of both worlds. But if that isn't allowed, man, I'm torn. Because part of me still wants to say Switch because of games that I love playing on the Switch now, like, Smash, of course. I don't want to ever go without some version of Smash, especially the best version. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, my game of the year last year. So I'm torn because I want to say Switch just for stuff like that. But then I'm also like, the PS2 had such an incredibly robust, incredible library of games and such a large one that I feel I would never necessarily run out. So I'm a little torn. And of course, like my favorite console ever is the Super Nintendo, but I don't know that I would only ever want to play Super Nintendo games forever for the rest of my life. So what about you, Derrick? I'm a little torn.
I mean, I'm kind of with you. I'm split between the SNES, the PS1, and the PS2.
Okay.
I think those are the strongest for like unique games for that system. You bring up a lot of good points with like we'd have Xenoblade 2 and 3, but I'm thinking just like legacy games and just stuff that works well. And honestly, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta go with I think I'd go PS1.
Yeah.
I think I'd go PS1. You got some really good platformers on there. You got some amazing RPGs. I think that's like the golden age of RPGs at that point. That or the SNES. It's really tough. It has a bit more genre variety than the SNES, so there's that aspect.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a good library as well. So I'd probably go with that. But PS2 is damn close. So is SNES, of course. So,
man, I might at the end of the day have to go with PS2 for just the absolute incredible breadth of games that are available on it. Lots of genre diversity. A lot of my personal favorites are on PS2, such as Okami, Final Fantasy X. But man, at the same time, I don't know if I can actually give up Smash and Zelda. But then if I do Switch, I give up Final Fantasy. So
yeah,
and Kingdom Hearts, except for Melody of Memory. So I don't know.
Yeah, there
God, maybe I do go PS2 because I would get Kingdom Hearts and Ratchet and Clank. God dang.
Yeah, there's no right answer or
no,
wrong
there
answer
really
here.
isn't.
Well, wrong answer maybe like Stadia or something, but I might have to go with PS2 at the end of the day. But it is a hair's width between PS2 and Switch. And I say Switch specifically because even if I lose things like Mega Man and whatnot, there are so many indie games.
You have Mega Man 11.
I do have Mega Man 11, but there are also so many indie games on Switch that capture everything I love about retro platformers and other, more retro, like 8-bit, 16-bit games. I feel like I can still get a little bit of that even without having access to Mega Man and Sonic and such themselves. So, ooh, that's hard.
Make a good point, but man, it's tough.
That's hard. Thank you.
Steve was like, "It's like, nah, Dreamcast. That's easy."
I know.
Well, I loved the Dreamcast and its original games. They influenced my love of gaming in a big way.
But, Dreamcast is so good.
Yeah, I just can't do a Nintendo console without the port. Like if I have one Nintendo console, I need all of them.
Right.
I can't just be like, nope, that's on NES, can't touch it.
And I love the GameCube so much as well. I have a soft spot for the GameCube, but I don't know that it would be the only system I'd want to have access to.
Right.
Probably not.
So, man, it's hard. All right. Well, thank you so much for that, for that question, Blaystar, even though it was brutally difficult to answer. Derrick, what is your question for this week, man?
Mine comes from Joseph Bayer, who asks, what game would you want to see demade to a PS1 or Nintendo 64 game? I think this is probably inspired by Bloodborne. The Bloodborne.
That was so cool, that Bloodborne remake.
It's really cool. Honestly, I think it'd be really fun to see Resident Evil 7 or 8 demade into like a classic Resident Evil, like a 2 or 3 onto the PS1, just to see what they would do. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of fun to see like the bakers come after you, or the exploration. I think that's kind of a fun idea for a demake concept. And I don't know. I think that'd be with the fixed camera angles. Just like take the concept of Resident Evil 7 or 8 and pop it into PS1 just like the old ones. So there we go.
This is a really, really hard one. And my initial answer for it kind of doesn't count because it's already kind of been done. So what I was originally going to say for this question was Smash Ultimate. I'd love to see all the characters and stages that we've come to know and love in Smash Ultimate demade to a Smash 64 style on N64. But a version of that already exists. It's called Super Smash Remix, and it's a fan project that takes a lot of characters and stages from later games like Melee and Brawl, and even characters that have not been in Smash at all, like Marina from Mischief Makers, and demakes them into a Smash 64 context with like 64 era character models and the 64's sound font for the music. It's really cool. So, but it's been done, so I feel like I can't answer that. So I feel like maybe I think I would be really interested to see possibly Final Fantasy X demade on with PS1 assets. I think that could be really interesting. That might be a good second. It's definitely Smash, but again, that's already been done, so I feel like I shouldn't just roll with that. So yeah, I might be really interested in seeing how FF10 would work and look and sound on the PS1 if it had never been envisioned as a PS2 game.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other ones. What about you, Steve?
So I wanted to pick a game that I know could be done for sure.
Ooh,
my knee-jerk reaction was Breath of the Wild, and I'm like, that could not have been done in that era. Like, neither of those two consoles could handle a game that size. So I picked something smaller. I would love to see a demake of Splatoon for the N64.
Oh,
like such a simple, small game that I'm confident Nintendo could have done it if they had the idea back then. But I can't for the life of me imagine how bad it would look.
I mean, yeah, it would look pretty bad, and probably have the GoldenEye type controls.
Right. That's what got me thinking about it. I'm like, the controls have the potential to be horrendous. But I think you could do it.
But I can also just immediately imagine pushing Z.
Oh, wow. Cutie Caitlin just had box art ready.
Yeah, Splatoon 64 box art. I love that.
You know what? I like those models. I would have played that.
Yeah.
Yeah, those aren't bad, honestly.
You know what? Squire in our live audience chat, Sonic Mania for the Saturn. I love that idea because it is essentially meant to be the lost 2D Saturn Sonic game we never actually got.
Oh, yeah.
So that is a really, really good idea.
Brian Rivero, Kirby and the Forgotten Land on N64. That'd be cool.
Ooh,
that would be rad.
16 Nations said that as well. Yeah, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. That is so good. Because you could easily imagine it like Kirby 64 being the proof of concept of 3D models in a Kirby game on the system. And then, that's my favorite one so far, I think. That's my favorite answer. That's Metroid Prime on N64 says Top Dog.
But let's remember when Uncharted first came out, everybody was calling it Dude Raider. Let's just make it PS1, make it straight up like a Tomb Raider game.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, these are all great ideas. Kirby and the Forgotten Land on N64 is my favorite, though, I think. That's really good. But I still stand by wanting to see how FF10 might be envisioned on a PS1.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that question, Joseph. Really super appreciate that. And then my question this week comes from Colin, and I decided to pick this because it's topical for the week. With Theatrhythm's demo out and director expressing interest in moving on past the series, what IP would like to see that team give a rhythm game treatment to next? Or would you like to see that team give a rhythm game treatment to next? It can be a Square IP or anything else. No need to stay realistic. I don't got just one for you. I got two. And they're the two most obvious things that haven't been done. Mega Man and Sonic. How do neither of these series, known for having some of the best music, not just in video games, but ever, how do neither of them have their own rhythm game yet? Particularly Sonic. Mega Man, I get, is obviously, relatively niche compared to Sonic, but like they both are legendary for their music in video games, and yet neither has a rhythm game to their name. And in either one of those, I would like to see indieszero, the developer behind Theatrhythm, take on next.
I'm just imagining like those field sections where you got to move it up and down, just sort of like Sonic in a spin dash form, going along the screen. That'd be really cool. Yeah, you're right. Those are honestly really good ones that make total sense. There'd be especially with Mega Man in that style. There's so many different ones, and
Mega Man's characters are literally named after musical terms: rock and roll, and bass, and treble, and gospel. Like, how has this not happened yet? It is an idea that sells itself.
Wait, there's a gospel?
Yeah, treble is gospel's Japanese name, or sorry, treble is gospel's American or Western name.
I see.
Yeah, just like bass is forte in Japan.
Right.
Yeah, forte and gospel.
I do like Amy's answer, Xenoblade.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, Xenoblade would be awesome. I also have mentioned this before, but I would love a Square Enix, like everything else that hasn't gotten to be in Theatrhythm. So like Brave Fencer Musashi and Tobal and the Bouncer and all the really weird off the wall IPs. More Parasite Eve, more Xenogears.
I had a funny thought while playing the Theatrhythm demo. It's like just imagining since they're probably not going to do it, but if we did get another Theatrhythm from indieszero in the future, the Final Fantasy 16 characters chibi-fied in that style, which is just funny with how brutal they're going. What about you, Steve?
I actually want, and we've technically had one before, but I want a Mario rhythm game.
Oh,
So I know we had DDR, like Mario DDR,
That
but
doesn't
I
count.
want
They
one.
had like
Yeah,
nursery rhymes in there.
Right.
agreed. I want one where it's like a hybrid platformer rhythm game where the obstacles in the environment require Mario to like jump and run to the beat of the song.
Oh,
So it's like
rather than the nodes, you'd have like it's a Goomba to stomp on, or
exactly,
Hell yeah.
exactly,
or like jump onto a Koopa and you ride the Koopa for a bit for a hold note.
exactly. That's what I want. I think that could be so rad.
God, that
I
would
like
be.
that idea.
Imagine if we got that, but not just for Mario, but for just celebrating Nintendo's musical catalog in general. So you got Mario, you got some Zelda, you got some Splatoon and Star Fox and what have you. God, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of Zelda,
go ahead.
that hasn't happened. Well, it kind of has. Cadence of Hyrule. That counts.
Kinda.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Steve.
No, I was gonna say if you do that game, especially if the Theatrhythm team is doing it, you have to use that like 2D Nintendo art style that they haven't made a Mario game with for some reason.
Right?
Absolutely. 112 in our live audience chat, and I didn't know this, mentions humorously Gunvolt was leaked to have a rhythm game. I had not heard about that, and if Gunvolt gets a rhythm game before Mega Man and Sonic, that's just everything is backwards. I don't even understand how that makes sense. Right. It's not as though Gunvolt even has like particularly memorable music beyond the vocal themes, at least in my opinion. But also, it has kind of happened in Harmonite a little bit. It had a few Pokemon songs, but a Pokemon rhythm game would be so cool too, I think.
Oh man.
Yeah. But
awesome.
it comes down to Mega Man and Sonic for me, but there are so many IPs I'd love to see indieszero take on next. And we'll see what they do next. But if Final Bar Line actually is the last game in the Theatrhythm series, I'm curious to see what that team is going to work on next. And thank you so much for that question, Colin. Really appreciate it.
Although I'd find it really funny if indieszero went the opposite of what I forget what the guys who made Hi-Fi Rush are. They go the opposite, make a go the opposite and make a hardcore horror game that's actually really good.
Right. And speaking of Hi-Fi Rush, I wasn't here on the show last week to hype it up, but if you haven't played it, please do. It is so good, and when I'm not playing it, I'm thinking about playing it. I love that game so much. I can't wait to go back and finish it. All right. Well, we got a few more super chats, and then we're going to close out the show. Disney Duncan again with $5. Thank you very much. Thank goodness Jedi Survivor got delayed because it was originally the same date as Resident Evil 4 remake. And yeah, I know which way that would have gone, and it would not have been it would not have been a happy day for Jedi Survivor, I don't think. So yeah, good call on their part for sure. Thank you, Duncan. And next up is Disney Duncan. I might have missed one, but Disney Duncan again with $2. I beat Persona 5 Royal, a long but great time. Well, I'm super glad you were able to actually finish it. It is a really long one, but when you get to the end of a super long game like that, it is incredibly rewarding.
A lot in between.
I think I did. I'm going to go back. Don't worry. We are back. I believe that I was cut off while I was reading out. Let's see where to go. Alan Wilkinson super chat with 2 British pounds. Thank you very much. And it is literally just an emoji with the tongue stuck out. So. Right back at you, Alan. Thank you very much.
They knew it was coming.
yeah. Thank you. All right. Next up, we've got $5 Canadian from Chaos Gamer. Thank you very much, Chaos. Do you think they will remake Final Fantasy Tactics? It's my fave game of all time. Thanks for the awesome content. And how would I become a Patreon? Well, we do know from that NVIDIA leak a few months back, several months back at this point, that they're working on something FF Tactics related, either a port or some sort of remaster. Sounds more like a remaster. So I don't know if they'll ever fully remake it, but I do think we might get a remaster coming up. What do you guys think?
It's hard to say with Tactics So Good Reborn being so recent, but I could see it being like second half of the year type thing.
Sure. And a lot of the other stuff from the NVIDIA leak have come to pass as well. So that's why I feel like it probably is going to happen. As for Patreon, you can check us out over at patreon.com/GVGaming. That's where we are on Patreon. We have a variety of tiers you can support us at, and we really appreciate your interest. Thank you very much, Chaos.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Kaiser the Fighter with $2. Thank you. Pauline from Mario versus Jessica Rabbit from Roger Rabbit. This is Pauline, right? Like, I don't even know what can Jessica do?
In
the Roger Rabbit.
Die because she's a toon, but that's best I got.
I give
like
it to Pauline.
I think it's Pauline.
Yeah. The most combat I've seen her use is a frying pan against Roger and a booby trap, and I don't think Pauline's going to be reaching in there.
Right. I feel like Pauline. Yeah, I think this one goes to Pauline. Thank you, Kaiser. Next up is Brian Rivera with $4.99. Thank you, Brian. Would you guys be down with a fusion between SSJ4 Goku and Fierce Deity Link? I mean, of course.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be down with that, right?
That'd be a wild design.
Yeah, that'd be awesome to see. Absolutely. Next up is a new name for us, Ross Krispies. I love that name. Thank you very much, Ross, with 20 British pounds. Thank you. EA also canceled Respawn single-player Titanfall / Apex title in development this week. Titanfall 2 is one of the best shooters I played and was dying for a sequel. EA fumbled the bag from launch. It deserved better. I mean, EA gonna EA, right? But yeah, that is
pretty much
damn shame. Yeah, and thank you again very much, Ross Krispies, for your donation. Next up is Disney Duncan with $2. Thank you very much. Logan and the Deadpool movies are on Disney Plus. That makes sense, given what Disney owns and given their stable of IPs.
Our few R movies on there.
yeah, exactly. So thank you, Duncan. Next up, Rec BCQ with $5. GVG needs a mobile game where you walk uphill for cookies. No, we don't. I never want to remember that again. Daniel would be the only viable playable character in such a game. The rest of us wouldn't be viable. Yeah, that was a rough night. But thank you very much, Rec. Thank you. Disney Duncan. I read this earlier. I skipped it. Persona 5 Royal. Thank you again, Duncan. Next up, Kane Woolley with $5 New Zealand dollars. Thank you, Kane. Hi, you beautiful men. Just want to take a moment to tell you we appreciate you all. Be proud of your work. You actively make the world a better place. Oh, my heart.
Oh, thank you.
Kane, thank you so much. It's so kind of you to say. It's always nice being reminded that what we do makes a difference for people out there. And if we can make even one person's world a little bit brighter, then we've done our jobs. So thank you so much for the kind words, genuinely. We'll keep on keeping on. Next up, Chris Stead. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. Chris Stead with $25. Thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you for all you do. You got me through the loss of my niece and so much more. Everyone on this channel are the absolute best people. Keep it up, and thank you for your love, passion, dedication, and kindness. Well, I'm back to back.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
super chats.
And
thank
I
you
am
so much.
Sorry about your niece.
Yeah, seriously. I'm so sorry about your loss.
That's heartbreaking.
Please, accept all of our good vibes, all the good vibes we have to share, and we're just honored and grateful that what we do has helped make your loss just a little bit easier to get through. So genuinely so sorry for your loss. And thank you again, Chris. And last super chat of the day, Disney Duncan is back one more time with $5. Thank you so much, Duncan. What company do you want Disney to buy to a franchise into Kingdom Hearts? I want them to buy Hasbro.
So what company would you want them to buy so it could be in Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, I see. So, I mean, they've already done the obvious ones like, I mean, they've already done the obvious ones like Star Wars and Avengers and Marvel and stuff.
Yeah.
The thing is, I mean, it's easy to say something like, "I'd love to see Nintendo in Kingdom Hearts" or something, but not at the expense of Disney owning Nintendo. Like, I wouldn't want that. So
that is tough.
Lord of the Rings. Buy Lord of the Rings. Put them there. Have Sora in the One Ring. Why not? Go. It'd be funny to see that's how Sora gets a traditional fantasy outfit.
That's true. Maybe, I don't know, maybe DreamWorks get How to Train Your Dragon in there or something.
Ooh, Puss in Boots is a
Puss in Boots.
As a
I might be trending toward DreamWorks actually. Might be fun to get Puss in Boots and How to Train Your Dragon in there.
I want them to buy Rare and put Just Conquer into Kingdom Hearts.
Nice. Perfectly thematic material for Kingdom Hearts, obviously. All right. Well, that does finally bring us to the end of episode 43 of the GVGcast. Thank you so much for bearing with us through 2 computer crashes and like a bazillion super chats. You all are so incredibly generous and kind with your donations. Thank you so very much. Before we head out, I do want to remind everybody about our Twitch channel, Good Vibes Arcade. Our buddies Brandon and Daniel are killing it 2+ times a week over on our Twitch channel, playing through all sorts of fun games on Good Vibes Arcade. So please do go check out our Twitch. It's twitch.com/officialgvg, and they are doing some awesome streams over there. Also, speaking of our Twitch streams, we have a VOD channel now, Good VODs Gaming. This is something that you all have been requesting for quite a while. We have finally made it happen. So check us out there, Good VODs Gaming. It's essentially just VOD deliveries of our Twitch streams. There are already a few on there now, so go check them out, subscribe. That's where you'll find all of our future Twitch VODs going forward. So that is a thing as well. Thank you all so much for being here with us this week, every week. We love you all so much. As always, we have to give a special shout out to all of our patrons at the producer tier and above for helping to keep the lights on over here. And we love doing what we do with all of you. So thank you so very much. But also, as always, we have to give an extra special shout out to all of our patrons at the executive producer tier and above. And those fine, amazing, wonderful folks include Brandon Bovia, Cutie Caitlin, Fangs, Z Patty, Just Brian, Sky Blue Flames, Eastman 23, Adam O'Sullivan, Richard Herrera, Logan Daniel, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Waffle King, Critter XD, Joy Content, Angel Martinez, Vedron, Joshua Hunter, Benny Yao, Blindman, Azran 127, Black King, Pagrima, Geller, Joseph Rutkin, Titus Malvolio, Geeky Griffin, Lucky Wonderfish, Kyle, Wataniac, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, Doug Shomix, Andrew Medeiros, Brady Power, Darchi, Becca, Killamox, Eddie B, Sean Davis, Michael McCaw, Matthew Wong, Goron Amber CPHT, Too Much Spaghetti, Bane 400, Ascaron 809, Ryaner, Nathan Steele, Spicy Atanda, Rain and Clouds, The Game Orb, Super Gamer Dude 101, Grantles, Ravelox, Rosa Pardo Bowling.
Hi, Mom.
Mega Ampster, Dark Steel 01, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Cystic Warrior 29, DJ Jurassic, Super Dank Awesome Unicorn Guy, Derrick, Colin, Blaystar 25, Mumbling Yeti, Cameron Sharp, Keel, Moon Knight, Brendan Hesse, Hustlebun, Noah Fitterer, Calvin Atkinson, Brainchild, the entire state of Wisconsin, Jim Wakeland, Longboy Shiggy, Andy Mime P, Ad, Kyle the Monarch, Dat Alpha Lion, Lord Metarex, Kyle Gamer and Barry Rookie, Salad Dinner, Blaze Collard, Eric, Turbo, DGC, Cat EV Person 5, Lady Maxillary, Dr. Ryan, Mega Beatman True Blue Reviews, Young Ant, and finally, last but certainly not least, Lord Clump of Studio Crazy Train. Thank you all so much for your incredible support. We're about to head off to our Patreon exclusive post show. Once again, patreon.com/GVGaming. Even if you can't support us there, if you just like and subscribe right here on YouTube, every little bit truly does help. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care of yourselves. Good night and good vibes. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.